Good morning, everybody. Hope everybody's doing great. So, hi. The way we're going to structure this is I'm going to introduce and touch upon the topics. Ms. Wolora is going to speak more on IPR and augment into AI. And Mr. Sagar is then going to go more deeper into the AI augmentation and the synergy topics. So, hi. IPR, intellectual property rights, as we know it, is essentially broadly trademarks, patents, copyrights. And there is trade secrets, there's GI, there's blockchain. But if you go back to the three essential elements that are most commonly used are trademarks, patents, and copyrights. Let's go back to the definition, or rather to the word intellectual property rights. Intellectual. What is intellectual? Intellectual is essentially creation of intelligence. Now, intelligence is a very human thing. You know, we always thought humans are the intelligent kind. We suppose and keep intelligence to the human kind. Now, this is the classic thought of things. Then bang, comes Terminator. I'm sure all of you all must have, almost most of you all must have seen the movie Terminator, which the original Terminator, which was in 1984, much before I was born. But yes, now what did that movie show? That machine or technology can augment and synergize in a way that it can learn the facets that humans carry, that we see, we gauge, we realize, we generalize, and we augment it into a thought process and thinking, is what was carried out in that movie, or rather shown. Back then, it was a fantasy. But a couple of decades later, we are in the world of AI. And that's where I come to is artificial intelligence. Intelligence to show that an artificial being, a created project or a created software can develop itself in a way that it encompasses human thinking. It grows like a human thought. It evolves. It grows over the years. It evolves. It strategizes. It starts generalizing. It starts thinking on its own and behaving on its own. That's what artificial intelligence is. Well, to begin with, you know, when we had Siri, Alexa, all of them, when they came in, they were just research assistants. You would tell them, you would give them a task, they'll carry it out. Ship to right now, they know what task they have to carry out. They don't need to wait for our instructions every time. They can read our timings of sleep. They can read what we are doing in a particular day and ship the way they bring about information and show access to information for us. Now, there is a saying towards what intellectual property is. AI, as said by Mr. Sundar Pichai, is a core transformative way by which we are rethinking how we are doing everything. Essentially, it's taking what we have in thought, re-putting it into an algorithm, and then bringing about what change we are bringing about. Now, with the advent of AI, things have really changed. With the advent of the COVID and with the lockdown situation, things have gone global. We've all gone global. We've all gone virtual. We've all started using a lot of technology than what it was before. Now, with this technology comes a lot of creative issues. Technology has started to become creative. When what we thought is we are creative. Well, technology is way more creative right now than what we can think of. With creativity comes intellectual property. Now, what happens when there is a fight or a tussle between a creative project and artificial intelligence? This is what my fellows will touch upon. And I'd like Ms. Wolora to start speaking on the same. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now, the overall IP, as we know, which is a very valuable asset. And when we try to correlate and find out the importance and the overlap and the differences between IP and the AI is where the key issues lies. Now, I will be talking about the intellectual property with relation to AI, which is AI and copyright, AI and trademark, AI and patent. I will also discuss some of the case laws and some journal issues so that, it's very particular and very precise. Now, AI, the artificial intelligence, the term came first in the 1950s in the Dartmouth summer school research. And since then, it has been coming to play at a later stage after 2010. What is AI and its emergence? As my fellow colleague has stated, Alexa can you switch on the AC? Siri, can you please buy me a phone? So these are the artificial intelligence apps that is actually causing, so many issues when it comes to losing the valuable IP. Now, the main relation with AI and copyright is that when it comes to copyright, it must come from a human being. No other robotics or AI apps comes into play when it comes to copyright, because the acts, the articles in majority of the jurisdiction, it states it must be a creation of the human mind. And now, when it comes to the AI and trademark, how are they related? When it comes to influencing on buying decisions, when it comes to trademark, we focus on the process of buying. And when it comes to AI and trademark, there is a information that filters the information from a buyer and the product. Now, AI, which is the influential app like Siri and Alexa and Google and so many others, AI application effectively acts as a filter between the consumer, the brand, and the product itself, and making unique recommendations to consume on the basis of past purchasing decision of the consumer. An article from the Harvard Business Review, which states that traditionally the purchase was for shopping to shipping, and now the model has changed from shipping to shopping, because the previous purchasing records are being kept in the AI apps based on which decisions Siri and Alexa are buying the products for the consumers. Now, what is the connection between the trademark law in deeper? I would like to say that when it comes to buying product and the series of services of IP, the purchasing and the buying of the products and services has changed over the year due to this corona pandemic. Everybody has shifted online. We are buying products online, let it be your dress, your medicines, your day-to-day necessary products. And this purchasing process is affected by this specific information, as I stated earlier, which intervenes between the consumer and the product. Now, two cases that I would like to refer from the European Court of Justice of the European Union. Number one is Louis Vuitton and versus Google, where the issue of keyword advertisement and the automatic choice of such keyword in Google AdWords system. It was held by the courts that since Google were not actively participating in putting the keywords, so there was no such infringements. And hence there was the lawsuit was dismissed. And the next interesting case I would like to state is that L'Oreal versus eBay, where there were many L'Oreal counterfeit products on the eBay websites, where again eBay was sued by the L'Oreal for selling the counterfeit products. However, the courts held that since eBay was not yet again actively responsible for creating the AI apps, so the lawsuit was again dismissed. Now, when they do not actively take part in infringing the laws, let it be copyright or trademark or patents, no websites or companies are being held responsible, even if there are infringements. Even if AI do not delegate the power to buy the brand, however, the AI influences to buy the product for the consumer. And AI and IP policy under the WIPO guidelines, World Intellectual Property Organization, it's still in the process. Many countries who are the WIPO member states are coming up with recommendations and what should be the policy for which reflects their national laws are still under review. And till 2017, I have seen that WIPO has received around 55,600 AI applications for patent portfolios, and the major countries were Japan and USA, which holds the AI rich portfolios. And lastly, I would like to add that when it comes to AI and patent, which is very, very important, that whether the AI is patentable, as my colleague was also, we are discussing. When it comes to AI being patentable itself, as I said, the WIPO has received more than 55,000 applications. AI being the creator, if you Google online, you can see this popular Facebook case where Facebook they were coming up with an AI applications where they use different language and different source codes for the recommendations, and the new language and the new source codes that the AI gives, it's not being understandable by humans. So Facebook ultimately rejected the AI app. Because when it's not understandable to the humans, what happens with the innovation? What happens to the impact, and what happens to its enforcement? So it was ultimately rejected by Facebook. And lastly, I would like to add, so if these AI are not patentable, are these copyrightable? Now, the parallel and the intertwined connections between the copyright and patent where it comes to AI, even if it's copyrightable, another similar AI applications can go through those source codes and make a different version of the AI. However, so we can say that that AI was not completely protectable. So the conflicts and the discussion still remains between the AI, whether it's patentable or copyrightable. And even if it's copyrightable, it's not entirely protected. And so I would like to conclude my speech here and give it to my fellow colleague. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Wolora. Greetings to everybody. First of all, thank you, Clicker Creators, for giving me this opportunity. And I will just be revolving around one very specific subject. What exactly is artificial intelligence? Like, it has been in our daily lives. It has made our lives easy, ergonomical, and whatnot. But what do we understand by it? What exactly is AI? So if I have to say it in one simple sentence, what I comprehend or fathom through most basic understanding is it's machine learning process that is based out of or shows or showcase some degree of human cognitive ability. I mean, whatever you're thinking, whatever you're saying, somehow, let's just say, if given an example, if you're using Netflix or Amazon Prime, the last web series or the last movie that you saw, the Netflix or the Amazon Prime application will itself start showcasing you the same genre, be it horror, be it mystery, be it thriller. So this is based out of artificial intelligence only. They're trying to gather information from you and then portray it to you by gathering information again from you. And similarly, it goes on. 60 years it has been that AI has been amongst us, but most recently, this development and this immense flow of revolution has come into the play. Siri and Alexa, as stated by both the panelists, has been an immense help in our daily lives. Perhaps the only two ladies that listen to me. And going by the same thing, I'll not go only on revolving around the same thing, but I'll just have few statistics that I'll like to portray and like to say it in front of you. For example, in 2015, there were just 10% organizations that were using AI. At present, in 2019, or even if I say 2021, there are 37%, which is an increase of 270% growth. Organizations and entities that have actually adapted to AI. Eventually, the market size of an artificial intelligence worldwide is $27 billion in 2019, and in 2027, it is estimated to be $226 billion. Which is, again, an immense growth rate of 33%. Accordingly, one of the most leading auditing entities, PwC, 54% of their business executives have relied and even stated that, yes, our work and the work culture has been eased into as and when we have adopted AI. So these are some of the most tantalizing as well as burning statements that have come into the play, and that, yes, they have accepted the fact that without AI, we're not that much productive. Even as per a business foresight review, there was a saying that 2 heads are better than 1. And whom to give the best example, Ravan. 10 heads, it was a hypothetical thing. He had minds of 10 heads. Similarly, AI is just playing a role of an additional head just to provide not just an additional help, but a substantial help to the commercial enterprises as well as the private banks or the private organizations. The report goes on and on. There are a lot of, like in 2019, 62% consumers all over worldwide had said that, yes, after adopting to AI, we have been able to shop anything which is online. We have been able to ergonomically access it. We have been able to do things much more easily after adopting to AI. The best example would be chatbots. In 2019, or even to say in 2021, there are 8 billion chatbots already existing, which is much more than the global population. So to conclude my part, artificial intelligence is the next big thing, and as in relevance or in context of IP, perhaps both in collaboration will be providing a revolutionary path to us. Won't say that it is a labyrinth that we are talking, or that we are taking a stroll upon, but yes, concomitantly we can say that we are looking at a brighter future with help of artificial intelligence. I would like to give the panelists the floor.
Thank you, Sagar. Thank you, Wolora. I'd like to stand up for this. Now, what are the key takeaways from what we've understood so far? Is that not even WIPO has an idea what we are bracing as far as artificial intelligence is concerned. There are no rules and regulations that are in place to say how a machine can evolve, take one's human creation, edit it, mold it, and create its own. Now, who's the author to something like that? Well, we don't have an idea. That's to another debate on another day. And I'd like to bring about Mr. Stephen Hawking saying on this, that 100 years down the line, AI is going to take over us. We'd rather have AI follow our imaginations than destroy what we have as mankind. And to add to that, I'd only like to say that the idiot box, as we've known it as now, the idiot box, the television, every device that we've had is not so idiot. Let's make sure that it remains as an assistant to us and it does not end up making us an idiot box. Thank you. Signing off. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you, Mr. Dalia. Thank you, Ms. Rasna, and thank you, Mr. Sharma. We have a couple of questions from our virtual attendees. So should I take those questions first, or is there anybody who would like to ask anything? Mr. Khurshid, just a second.
Hello. Yeah, there we go. Sorry, I'm laughing a little bit because I was just speaking to Sagar before this and was commenting on how my hand went up after every panel. So as soon as it went up, I saw him laugh.
I would have been amazed if you wouldn't have raised your hand.
I wanted to touch on something that Wolora did raise, is that especially I think in relation to copyright, creation is still linked with the sort of our understanding of human sentience. So artificial intelligence, which is obviously the term that is colloquially used, but I think machine learning is a more accurate term because AI, as in fantasy sci-fi, refers to machines with some sort of their own sentience, which we're definitely not there yet. Maybe someday it could happen. But do you think that there's a stronger or weaker connection with this concept when comparing common law jurisdictions to civil law jurisdictions, particularly jurisdictions where moral rights are either alienable or inextricably linked with copyright? So that emphasis on human sentience and that human morality being further linked with the work, as it is in, say, civil law jurisdictions like Germany. So do you think there's a greater scope in common law countries to start moving more towards recognizing computer-generated or machine learning works as their own separate category?
I would say I have looked to various cases where it was rejected because many AI for the machine learning cases where, before the court in civil as well as common law jurisdictions where it was said that, AI are not the creations of the human being. So still now, as of now, if I'm not wrong, I haven't known about any other where it was approved from a common law or a civil law jurisdiction. If I get updated, I'll share with you. Thank you.
Any more questions? So there's one question that one of our virtual attendees has asked. Can AI replace human thinking as AI is developed by humans?
If I'd like to take this. Well, I'll give you an example. AI is used a lot, or rather machine learning is used a lot in transactions and mergers and acquisitions, suppose. And I was just speaking to some of our fellow delegates, and I came across this interesting piece of information that, what companies do when a company A is trying to take over company B. And of course, company B has a lot of trade secrets, has a lot of information, a lot of intellectual property and data which it would not like to share. However, it would like to disclose the bandwidth of the company B, because before you take such an important decision, you would like to do that. Now, there are companies that act as intermediaries over here through their AI and machine learning based portals that they essentially carry out the research through augmented intelligence and complete and create a score upon the company. Whereas what is happening here is machine learning is not taking over our thinking, but it's assisting our thinking to develop as to whether I would like to take over a particular company or not, because I will come to know whether the company is worth taking over or not. Not by looking at these important informations, because they're not going to be shared with me under confidentiality, but on the basis of the fact that the machine has done its due job to assist me to take over. And by that, I would like to say that machine learning at best for now is a support and will grow and will make sure we grow with it for now, as long as we are able to control what we are able to do. Thank you.